some visuals for you as well.
Good to go.
All right, ready?
Call the Committee of Fire and Water meeting to order at 6:04.
As you may or may not know, the town is neck deep in the East End project, water, sewer, doing all kinds of stuff down there. It's a total mess and muddy and everything. As they're working on the sewer lines, they're also running the sewer lateral, the new sewer lateral to the property line. That was a part of the original contractor project. So if you drive by someone's house down there, you'll see a white pipe sticking up about 9 inches out of the ground. That's the new sewer clean out that tied onto their old sewer line, okay? And that's at the property line. As part of that contract also that's going on, the contractor is making a new water connection to the new water line and running and setting a new meter. What Mr. Miller and I found, some of those meters are sitting way up in those people's yards. The policy is the meter should be at the property line because we own the town's water laterals. We own the main and we own the lateral to include the meter box and everything in the meter box. The property owner then owns from the meter box back to the house. On the water, on the sewer, they own all the way back out to the main. Some places don't do that. Some places the community maintains to the property line, to the property line. The town of Blackstone Town Code does state that it's the property owner's ownership all the way back, even if the sewer line's on the other side of the street, they own that sewer line going across, okay? What we're finding here is, okay, because we intend on replacing for the LMI, and if you hear that term, that means low moderate income folks. Those are the ones that are eligible to have their houses worked on in the neighborhoods. If they're over a certain budget or the tenant is over a certain figure, their income is over a certain figure, they're not necessarily eligible for that assistance. We've replaced everything to the property line, but for the LMI, the people that meet the minimum qualifications are under that limit, we have, Yvonne worked with a company or an organization called SEERCAP that's located in Roanoke, and it's called Southeast Rural Community Action Project. Okay? And they provide monies for water and sewer projects just like this. They've helped me in Amelia before. That's how we knew who to call. So Yvonne called them, Andy Crocker I think is the guy's name, and they gave us $90,000 grant, all grant, to install laterals from where we stopped at the property line for the low moderate income, okay? The question tonight is not whether we're gonna do the low moderate income. Those are done, I got that, SEERCAP paid that, and we bid out in that regular project everything within the town's right of way with the other. The problem is there are people there that aren't gonna qualify for LMI assistance from SEERCAP or through SEERCAP, and what I'm asking you guys is if we can go ahead and replace those water and sewer lines to the house on every home in the project area. And the reason, one, it's not the majority are LMI.
Right.
It's a far smaller percentage, I can give you the exact number. But the reason being is, in 2011, we borrowed money from the state of Virginia through the Virginia Resources Authority because we had a consent order that was established by a circuit court judge in Richmond that said the town of Blackstone shall replace all the sewer and shall stop overflows in the Williams Pond Pump Station drainage, which is, if you know where Williams Pond is, very end of 10th Street, there's a pond back there. We've got a sewage pump station, and I can tell you, as wet as it's been the past couple of years, if we hadn't done that, it would have been in the creek twice a week. It was just overflowing, it was too much water. And the water wasn't coming from the houses, it was coming from leaking laterals, roof drains that were still tied to the sewer, old brick manholes that were leaking like the devil. And so in 2011, the state issued and the judge stamped, you shall fix it. And so we shall fix it. We went to the Virginia Resources Authority and they established that we will fund you only under certain circumstances. That's when we were really shaky on money. And so that's why we started a reserve fund, because they said you shall put money in the bank and have it set aside. That was the genesis of it, okay? But the Department of Environmental Quality, who was administering the project, okay, for the state, they came to us and said, we will pay to replace the laterals to the property line, like we're doing here, okay? There weren't any low moderate income eligible families down there. They said, but you can't use our money unless the town fronts and pays for the difference from whatever source. They said, because there's so many roof drains and your smoke testing indicates there's so many leaks in the sewer line. I mean, we put smoke bombs in the manholes down there and it would come out the chimney. I mean, it was, come out the gutters of the house. So they required us, and the town had to scratch that money together back in the tough times, and we replaced the sewer lateral to every house all the way back to the house. The age of the homes back in that part of town, on College and Lunenburg, are much older, okay? But they were mostly Orangeburg pipe. And Orangeburg pipe is tar paper wrapped real tight, and tree roots and things get in it and just make a mess of it. So the town did pay for sewer laterals to every home in that project area. It wasn't a DHCD block grant, but the project area that Williams Pond Drainage. And what I would ask is, and I can come back with an exact figure in the next council meeting, but what I would like to do is go ahead and replace the sewer lines and the water lines, okay, for every non-low moderate income house over there. Which
We're
will be
not talking
fewer than
about
a dozen.
10.
Huh?
We're not, if it's 10, I doubt if it's 10. I would say it's between 8 and 10.
It's not very many. It's a small amount. And I don't want to tell you I know exactly. I can go back and count them on the map.
Yeah.
But it's not
It's
a
not-
huge amount.
No.
And I'd like to treat them basically on the same par as what we did down there. And we did that because DEQ said, if you want our grant, that's what you gotta do.
I'll make a motion that we approve that and make a recommendation to the full council on that.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And just so you know, it'll come back to the next meeting, but they're already laying some laterals. If you go up to the corner of Ep Street and Tavern, they were working there this morning. Those are the LMI eligible ones that are already being done, so we're not usurping your motion. We're
What
just
kind of
doing
pipe was there, is there now? I mean, right, the old pipe.
I would say mostly in that neighborhood, the sewer line is cast iron. The cast iron is pretty durable, but it carbuncles on the inside. It gets barnacles that grow up in the inside of it. And I don't know if you remember when, before you got on council, there was a really bad picture of me and David Austrian
Yeah.
standing at the podium with a pipe that had all kind of yucco. That's from right there on Dillard Street. And so a lot of those laterals were, and I guess in the 50s and 60s, the prevailing technology was cast iron pipe, which is durable, but it rusts and get junk on it. So now we're going all plastic, everything plastic. And it's a SDR-35, which is a non-pressure pipe coming out of the house for the sewer. And the water is a 3/4 inch, we call it an endotrace, it's a blue pipe. It's a flexible pipe. As far as the town policy, I think the question on the policy was, not just these connections, but does the town want to continue requiring that the property owner maintain that sewer line all the way to the main, under the street? Okay? I think that was where the question was. The town code does say that now, so a modification of that would require a code change. An ordinance modification. My
What are you
recommendation
saying?
is
What you
try to leave it
saying?
alone.
What he's saying is if you got two houses and this is the street and the sewer line is here, then this guy's, you're responsible for the line to
Right,
the
right,
sewer.
right.
But so is this guy all the way under the street.
Right.
And we shouldn't have to make people pay for
No.
fixing the street.
No.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to amend that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, or I would make the recommendation to that. I mean,
I'd
have we
like to-
done that? Have we made somebody cut a street up and then repave it?
Ben Green just did it the other day
Okay.
at the car lot. They just put a new sewer line in, and they had to cut it. They had to cut the street. Now, what we do is we actually make the connection into our line. Get Andre down there and he threads it and cuts it, makes it it used to be someone took a hammer and busted a hole
Right.
in the, took a pie plate and shoved it through and smeared mortar on it. No, we use a rubber waterproof saddle. So Andre will cut the hole in the sewer line, or the manhole, if we need to, core it. Put the pipe in there, and Andre is responsible at our cost to make that happen, okay? And then they have to have their plumber lay the line. But if you go to Man Street tonight, and in between Napa and the Greens, you'll see a fresh sewer line cut. And that was a new sewer line that Ben plumbers ran out into the street and then to our main. It's pretty standard. Some communities don't do it, but the town of Blackstone for,
But we're
in our
gonna
code
make,
does say to do it.
Ben's gonna have to pay for re-putting asphalt down too?
No. We reserve the right to charge them for that because I think the code says they're responsible for all. But what we do, okay, because it's impractical 8 months from now, to get a contractor to come and do the paving, all right? We make sure that they provide the stone, because we only repack the trench and stone, we don't put any dirt back in the trench. So we'll tamp the stone, they'll bring a tamper and get it all tamped out, and then we leave it, and then whenever we do paving, I just pave the cut. And then we surface treat over top of it. We haven't been making people come back 2 months, 4 months, 6 months later or whatever, and do the asphalt. We've been doing it. So, yeah, I mean, that's the most recent one. That was last Friday, I think, when they put it in.
I can see not letting the residentials bear the brunt of the cost, but maybe businesses. I don't know.
So for example, if the apartments, the townhouses going on Bird Road, okay, they've got multiple sewer connections, 7 of them, then we would be responsible then to maintain 7 sewer connections to the property line. And that's taking on a big responsibility. Taking on responsibility. We don't make them come back and maintain the road, we do that. Simply because it's impractical. I can't go back to some guy 4 months later and say, oh, here's your bill for $325 for.
But his plumber, he bears the brunt of cutting the road and being able to get to the pipe and replace it.
What we'll typically do, we'll bring asphalt saw and cut a straight edge. A lot of contractors don't have that, a lot of plumbers don't have that, so we try to cut the edge pretty clean.
Okay.
Burton had a saw, they cut it. So we'll cut the edge clean, so when they dig it, they don't yank up the
Right.
asphalt, so it's an actual square, clean patch.
Gotcha.
And if you look at Ben's, they hit a saw. They did it. And we usually, because most plumbers are just like, where do you want me to
Right.
dig, man? Oh, jeez. You want a square edge when you dig.
Should we not have that and write that in then?
In writing?
We can put in the part that the town's responsible for the paving. We can put that part in there, because we do it now.
But she's talking about, I think you're talking about the saw, right?
The saw.
The saw.
So it gets done the correct way.
Correct way.
Well, we do it if the contractor isn't available to do it, or the contractor doesn't have the equipment. We go in there and saw cut it. But at Ben's, they had the saw, because they were cutting the concrete inside the building too, when they replaced the thing. But we can put in there that it'll be, like we do at the cemetery. You know, a new grave is 90 days responsible, or 60 days responsibility of the funeral home, and then after that, it becomes the town's responsibility. Another one, for example, would be 10th Street. We just built a house down on 10th Street next to the house that where Allison lived. We just built that house, okay? And he was responsible for running it out to the,
It was on the other side of the street.
no, I think the sewer was on his side of the street.
Mhm.
But the right-of-way line was up at the top of the bank. But he ran all the way to the sewer line. The water, I think, was across the street. I got that wrong? The sewer line was put in, and Mr. Williams, the water had to be run across the street. But the sewer, if you remember, there was a plastic cleanout sticking out of the yard, a blue one, or a green one. That was put in 1995 when we ran sewer in that recently annexed area. So there was not a sewer connection. That's not a good example. The sewer was done, we had to do the water though. We had to set a water main. Where else?
What do y'all think? What do you want, what recommendation do you want?
So the recommendation for this town policy is what?
If we change something, my recommendation, it differs a little bit from what Tom was saying. My recommendation is that the long-term maintenance of the pipe remains with the owner. If the damn thing clogs up or gets whatever feminine product hung in it or something, it's their responsibility to clean that thing out. And they happen all the time. There's a lot of clogs in Blackstone and everywhere. Grease, tree roots, all that kind of stuff. As long as they're responsible for that, we'll take responsibility for the street. If that's the part that's got you in trouble.
Yeah, that was my big thing. I was
Yeah,
thinking we were
yeah.
gonna make, you know,
If in other words, they
Fix
take care of,
streets.
they take care of the pipe, and we'll take care of the street.
Yeah, if we do that, that's what we're doing now. I'm totally cool with that.
Okay.
And, but the problem comes in when you got a sewer line and there's a tree root blob all in it. Well, then we've got a clean portion of it, and then they gotta
have to they have to redo the line because it got corrupted.
And there's still some old ones in town. There's some old sewer lines around.
Well, it's not that many, is it?
We've been knocking them in the head. When we did that College Avenue, Lunenburg, we took a bunch out. East End is taking a bunch out. But there's still some old timers over there. If you go down on like Jackson Street, where Mr. Holmes lives, I bet there's some old cast iron stuff in that thing. If you go on down through there.
Probably over there by Probably over there by the Good House and all that too, right in front of Levi's on that
Yep.
street over
And
there.
if you go over to Pickett Court, those were built in the forties.
Yeah.
So you know those sewer lines are put in place. We got some drainage issues we're gonna have to address over there too, that I'm gonna bring the street.
Yeah, what was the outcome of that whole,
Of
you
the,
ran
Pardon?
the camera through this. We never looked at
we
the-
did, we looked at the camera, the pipe was good under the road, but we did replace the two boxes on either end. Because they literally, they had been paved to a point where you can barely get a finger through between the pavement and the top of the box. So if you go by Paul Lax's house now, both of those boxes are gone, there's new, kind of modern looking entrances in there, but the pipe was okay. But we've got some other drain pipes in that neighborhood, I went back and looked it up, and there is an easement, there's a maintenance easement granted to the town of Blackstone by effect of recording the plat. Back in the 1940s, the easement was granted back to the town, and there's storm drains that have collapsed in the yard. If you go to the back alley at Pickett Court, after you come off of Main, take that first entrance, not the paved entrance, but the first alley entrance going back,
Mm-hmm.
about 3 or 4 houses down, you'll see a series of cones, and the daggone storm pipe is collapsed in. It's not sewer, but it is, the storm sewer has collapsed right through there. And I believe that's the town, because we accepted that plat, and we accepted that easement. So I think we gotta, but I wanna talk to the street department, or, street committee, and we need to replace the boxes, and the storm pipe on that section. So we'll work on drafting up a policy and getting something to them where we'll relieve the owner of some of that responsibility of maintaining the road long-term and clarify that the town will be responsible for that.
Okay.
Is that okay? As long as they can keep their pipe and then we'll keep the gravel and the roads and all that. Okay?
Okay.
Any other
Thank you.
business for the committee? You have anything else? Phil?
Do you have any water and sewer questions of any kind that you've seen or heard? What I would like to do at some point, if you get really a bunch of free time, we can go to the water and sewer plant. I wouldn't mind riding you all around over there. This is what this big behemoth looks like, and this is what this creaking part of it does, and let those operators show you what they do. And what the water looks like coming in, and what the water looks like going out, is an amazing transformation.
Well, you gave me a,
I've been on tour too.
That's good.
Have you been over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that would like to go, please, I'll ride you. You've probably been over there enough times, but, it's amazing how with that old 75-year-old technology, that we achieve the same results as modern plants over in Chesterfield and all those kind of stuff. All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:25.
We will have a police and employment committee meeting tomorrow.
That's at 2:30.
I think it's